Okay, so infinitive, how do you do it? This is basically a lesson for high school kids who have to do Afrikaans as first additional language. All right, so you want to be confident about Afrikaans. Afrikaans-Success can help you. Firstly, we need to start with Stompie. Now, you're probably very familiar with Stompie already. I just want you to be very sure that you know what each part of Stompie stands for. So subject is the person or thing doing the action. Then you get verb 1, which is the action verb in present tense, but the helping verb in past or future, like het or sal or moet. Then comes the time the action was done, the person or thing the action is done to, the way the action was done, or how was the action done. Then, where was it done? Verb 2 is your action verb then. And last but not least, the reason the action was done, which is when we come to the te, the infinitive. All right, so most of the time, they only really start with infinitive when you have to do the grammatical part of it in grade 8, but it could be in grade 7 as well. So infinitive in Afrikaans has te. Right, the te can be together or separate, like sy hou daarvan te eet, which means she likes to eat. Please do not write to in Afrikaans when you mean te. So the English infinitive, you just need to. She likes to eat. But it's not to in Afrikaans. Please don't do that, folks. So te is the infinitive in Afrikaans. So it can be together, or it can be separate. Most of the time it is separate. Sy hou daarvan pizza te eet. She likes to eat pizza in English. Sy verkies vroeg in die oggend te eet. Or she prefers to eat early in the morning. So you can see how far and to are apart in this last example. Okay, so how do they test it? Firstly, let's look at a question, for instance. This is part of our exam prep masterclass. So there's a question, watter rede, or it could be waarom, or it could be hoekom, staan Sipho nou vroeg op. Now you need to know the context, but anyway, the answer is hy staan vroeg op die deur vir Amber oop te maak. So here's the breakdown. Hy is your subject, staan is your verb 1, vroeg is time, op is your second verb, and the rest of the sentence is infinitive. Die deur vir Amber oop te maak. Okay, so how do they test it? Sometimes they do this. They put part of the sentence and they would say Sipho slaap laat, and then they would do hou daarvan in brackets. Or they could say this part, they could say Sipho hou daarvan. They just give you those 3 words. And then you've got to complete the sentence. So that's how it looks. Laat te slaap. So as you can see, well, I'll explain that better now. So the last verb gets te just in front of it. All right. Now notice what happens. I'm going to show you more about the verb 1. So here is die leerders doen Afrikaans. The learners are doing Afrikaans. Now you have to say is besig. That is going to make the infinitive happen here. So what do you do with these two? Because is besig and doen are both verbs. Okay. So what happens in the infinitive? So what you have to do is besig now becomes verb 1. So die leerders is besig Afrikaans te doen. And as you can see, what used to be verb 1 now becomes verb 2. And te goes just before it. And is just after what is now your verb 1. Okay, you can pause this at any time to look at it again, or rewind and look again. So, how about hou daarvan? What happens? Same thing. Your verb 1 becomes hou daarvan. So that becomes the leerders hou daarvan baie Afrikaans te doen. Doen is used to be your one verb, verb one, now it's verb two. Right. Now, the other one that they can do is probeer. So again, they could say, they could give you this sentence, die leerders moet baie hard leer, and then they can do this. They can say, die leerders probeer om baie hard te leer. Now, notice what happens here now. This is a hulpwerkwoord. Did you see that hulpwerkwoord? Moet. Now, if you've got a helping verb or an auxiliary verb in a sentence that you need to change into infinitive, the helping verb goes away, like moet. You're not going to have moet in the infinitive now. So that's why the sentence goes, die leerders probeer om baie hard te leer. There's no moet anymore. Okay? Now, for the group 2 infinitives, these don't get om. They only get te. So if you've got behoort, you've got no om. You've just got te. If you've got hoef nie, hoef, sometimes they try to trick you and they just put hoef. Hoef is always negative. So if they don't put the knee, you've got to put both knees. So what's going to happen at the end? You're going to put your te and then your verb and then your knee, your final knee. Okay? Blake and Skane, you don't get so often, but it's the same thing. Te and then verb. Right. So here is an example. Behoort. Do you see there? There's het. Het is going to go away. But as you know from your other tense rules, het takes on another form. Let's see what form it takes on. So, firstly, behoort is going to go into the verb one position. Het is going to go away. And te hê instead of het. Okay? So, almal behoort Afrikaans as 'n vak te hê. That means everybody ought to have Afrikaans as a subject. So, leerders gebruik altyd volsinne. Hoef nie. Remember what I said about hoef? Hoef is always negative. Leerders hoef nie altyd volsinne te gebruik nie. So what used to be your verb one, gebruik, that means use, now becomes your verb two. And then your nie afterwards, if it's hoef, right? So now, I have a challenge for you. There are 5 sentences, and I want you to pause the video and do these 5 sentences in writing. Pause it, hey? You're going to pause it. Then you carry on with the video and you see how you did. So I'm going to carry on with the video now, but don't you do it. First, do these 5 and then you play. So here are the answers. And hopefully you got all 5 right. And then I just want you to know that this lesson is part of our masterclass exam prep. You can purchase the whole masterclass, which makes up 4 hours of intensive instruction. It also includes a workbook and memorandum. These are available on our website, as are all our programs. All the best with the exam.